Struggling to build dynamic web forms that capture user data effectively? This video breaks down all the essentials of HTML forms, from basic elements to advanced validation techniques. To place a form on our HTML page, we use the form element. The form element has key attributes that control how data is sent. First, we have the action attribute. This defines the URL where the form data will be sent for processing. It can be an absolute or relative URL. If you already understand absolute and relative URLs, feel free to drop a comment and tag this timestamp to help us learn from you. Let's see how the action attribute works. We'll add a button to submit the form. This is done using a button element with type set to submit. Set the action of the form to administer.html, then create that page. When you click the Submit button, you'll notice the browser redirects to the administer.html page. That's the role of the action attribute. It tells the browser where to send the form data. The second attribute we're going to check is the method attribute. This defines the HTTP method to use, usually GET or POST, when sending data to the server. To illustrate, let's add an input element of type text to collect the student's first name. On the browser, let's type in Mark as the name. When you submit the form, you'll notice a question mark appears in the URL, followed by first name equals Mark. That's the default behavior. Data is sent using the GET method. To prove that, let's explicitly set the method to GET and try again. You'll see the same result, for instance. The data appears in the URL. The alternative method is POST. Let's use this method in our form. When we submit the form now, you'll notice there's a redirection, but the URL has no query parameters. So where did the data go? The form was submitted, but the browser expects a server-side language to handle the POST data. This could be C#, Node.js, Python, or PHP. So let's use PHP. Rename administer.html to administer.php. Also update the action attribute to point to this new file. To view it, we need to retrieve it from the POST request and print the results. Don't worry about the backend part just yet. We'll cover that after finishing this HTML series. Now you can see the submitted data, so tell us, do you know when each of these methods should be used? If you know, drop your answer in the comments below to help the community learn from you. HTML5 provides various input types designed for different kinds of data. Each input should have a name attribute for form submission and an ID if it's paired with a label for accessibility. Here's a quick overview of the most common input types. If you need to collect short text like a name or title, use an input element with typeset to text. It provides a single-line input field, making it ideal for entries such as names, locations, or job titles. When collecting passwords, use an input element with typeset to password. This masks the characters as the user types, keeping the information private and secure. It's ideal for login, sign-up, and other forms requiring confidential input. To collect an email address, use an input element with typeset to email. This enables automatic format validation, such as checking for the presence of an @ symbol and a valid domain. On mobile devices, it also triggers an email-friendly keyboard, improving usability. If you want to collect a number like age or quantity, use an input element with typeset to number. It restricts input to numeric values and often includes spinner controls for easy value adjustment. To let users choose a date, use an input element with typeset to date. It displays a calendar picker, making it easy to select specific dates such as birthdays, events, or appointments. To collect time values, use an input element with typeset to time. It opens a simple time picker, allowing users to select hours and minutes quickly. If you need to collect both date and time, use an input element with typeset to Datetime-local. It provides combined date and time selectors for easy and accurate input. Want users to pick a color? Use an input element with typeset to color. It opens a color picker, letting users choose their favorite shade without needing to type any color codes. For multiple yes or no options, use input elements with typeset to checkbox. Users can select one, several, or none, making it perfect for choices like languages or interests. Only checked boxes send data while unchecked ones are ignored. To let users pick one option from many, use input elements with typeset to radio. Radios sharing the same name are linked, allowing only one selection. This works well for choices like gender or payment methods. If you want users to upload files, use an input element with typeset to file, which opens a file picker. To allow multiple files, add the multiple attribute and use square brackets in the name attribute. Also, set the form's enc type to multi-part form data for proper file handling. To send data invisibly, use an input element with type set to hidden. It's ideal for values like user IDs or tokens that should not be shown on the form. To send form data, use an input or button element with typeset to submit. Clicking it sends the form information to the server. If you want to clear all inputs back to their default values, use an input element with typeset to reset. It's not used often, but can be handy for starting over. For custom actions like JavaScript events, use a button element with typeset to button. It doesn't submit the form, but triggers the script or action you define. To let users pick from a list, use a select element. For single choices, it works like radio buttons. For multiple selections, set the multiple attribute and add square brackets to the name attribute. This allows users to select multiple options, similar to checkboxes. For long multi-line text like messages or comments, use a Textarea element. It provides a larger box, ideal for writing paragraphs. To make forms easier and accessible, use labels. Link a label to an input by matching the label's for attribute with the input's ID, or wrap the input inside the label. Labels let users click the text to focus the input, improving usability and accessibility. So those are the most common input types used in HTML. There are others like tell that we haven't covered here. If you know how it works, teach us in the comments and remember to tag the timestamp. You can also share other input types we might have missed. Next, we'll look at form validations. HTML has built-in attributes that help check user input right in the browser, without needing to send data to the server. Let's check them out. Use the required attribute to make sure a field must be filled out before the form can be submitted. If the user leaves it blank or doesn't check it, the browser blocks submission and shows a built-in error message. This helps catch missing info early without needing JavaScript or backend checks. For number or date inputs, use the min and max attributes to define the allowed range of values. This helps guide users and prevents invalid entries. For example, setting min equals 1 and max equals 10 means the user can only enter values from 1 to 10. If they go outside that range, the browser will block the submission and show an error. This works well for age, quantity, dates, and similar fields. Use the pattern attribute to make sure the input matches a specific format using a regular expression. For example, to require at least 3 letters, you can use this pattern. If the input doesn't match, the form won't submit. Always include a title attribute with a pattern. This shows a helpful tooltip or message when users get it wrong, guiding them to enter the correct format. It's especially useful for custom formats like usernames, IDs, or license plates. The read-only attribute makes a field visible but uneditable. Users can see the value but can't change it. Unlike disabled fields, a read-only field still submits its value with the form. It's perfect for showing things like calculated totals, preset usernames, or values pulled from a database that shouldn't be changed. The disabled attribute makes a field inactive. Users can't type in it, click it, or interact with it. It's often shown as grayed out. Unlike read-only, a disabled field's value is not included when the form is submitted. Use it when you want to display something that shouldn't be changed or sent. Placeholder shows hint text inside an empty input to guide the user. It disappears as soon as the user starts typing. Remember, placeholders are only hints and should never replace proper labels for accessibility and clarity. Since we've covered the basics of HTML forms, let's build a simple login form for our app. We'll need three inputs: a username field of type text, a password field of type password, and a submit button of type submit. Each input will have a label linked using the for attribute so users know what to enter. To group these elements, we'll wrap them inside a field set and add a legend to serve as the form's title. Next, we'll style the form using CSS. Inside your HTML's head section, add a style tag. I've prepared some styles for you. Check the description for the link to access the styles. That's it. Thanks for sticking around. If you found this helpful, like the video, drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. The next video will cover the CSS basics. Afterwards, we will recreate the TikTok interface together. See you in the next one.